Hey, welcome to this video. My name is Anik Singal, and I am the author of Escape. And we're going to walk through the entire book together. And my goal really here is to show you exactly what it takes to become a successful entrepreneur. Now, I'm not talking about the tactics. I'm not talking about how to build a business, how to hire people, how to run ads, how to convert. No, I'm actually talking about right up here because we actually have a problem in the world of entrepreneurship. Most people are focusing on the 20%, not the 80. The 20% are the tactics. The 80% is actually who you are. Let me explain this a little bit more, then I'll tell you a little bit more about myself and why is it that you should be listening to me? What makes me the person to listen to when it comes to how to become an entrepreneur. So let me give you this example. So you'll hear this all the time growing up, right? In our lives, we hear this all the time. They say, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? Let me be the first person to tell you, I disagree with this statement. Okay, at least to a degree. I think there's something that comes before it, and that is it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who you are. Now, I really want you to pay attention to that. It's who you are. Entrepreneurship. An entrepreneur, it's not about something you do. It's not what you do. It's who you are. An entrepreneur thinks different, behaves different, acts different, in many cases even eats different because we're just wired differently. And if you don't fix that wiring, you can't succeed as an entrepreneur. Now, I can tell you right now, if you took a successful entrepreneur, someone who's got these core fundamentals that we'll go over in this video course together, I don't care if they run a digital business. If you plucked them out of their business and went and plopped them into something that's completely the opposite of what they do, like, I don't know, if they're running an e-commerce store and then you pluck them out and plop them into the world of clothing manufacturer, they'll still rock it out. They'll still be able to do very well as an entrepreneur because they got the fundamentals down, because of who they are. They got the who down, not the what, the who, that's important. We're gonna go over all of that in the series of videos that you're watching. So a little bit about myself. Like I said, my name is Anik Singal. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Lurn, where our mission, our vision, our purpose is to be the transformational home for entrepreneurs. I literally live, breathe, eat entrepreneurship. It is my passion, it is my hobby, it's my everything. Okay, people ask me, Anik, what's your hobby? What do you do outside of work? And I'm like, I love entrepreneurship. I'm always studying it. So I started 15 years ago. Okay, was I born an entrepreneur? No. You may have noticed I'm Indian. So I was supposed to be a doctor. Okay, that's what I was studying to become my entire life. And I was the kid in the neighborhood that has a lemonade stand. Okay, I was that kid. And so I study hard, I do really well in school, like because I work hard, not because I'm smart, I just work really hard. And I get a full scholarship, I'm in pre-med, everything looks like it's on track, I'm gonna become a doctor, I'm being recruited by the top Ivy League schools in the world, and my parents are super happy telling everybody, and then I get like 1 month into pre-med, and I'm like, oh my God, I hate this, I don't wanna do this. So I go through a whole troubling time, but I did. I switched over to business. I had to switch over universities. I lost my full scholarship, all of that. I get 1 week into classes at business school. I'm like, oh, I hate this too. And I was so scared. I thought at that time, like, I'm going to be like this broke dropout, right? But then I determined, I learned that it's actually not, it's the fact that I go to class and learn and it can't apply. So I started having all these thoughts go through me about like when I used to run the lemonade stand or when I had this little business or that little business. I was like, man, maybe I should start my own business and that way I get time to actually do what I'm learning. So what did I do? I literally turned to google.com, okay? Back then it was just starting. That's how long I've been around. Google.com, and I typed in how to make money. And Google made an auto suggestion that said online. So how to make money online. I was like, okay, sure, why not? Clicked onto that. That led me through a journey that led to the next 18 months of me trying thing after thing after thing after thing. See, I was focusing on the tactic, the 20%, and I kept failing, I kept failing, I kept failing, I kept failing. Finally, I announced on this one forum, I said, that's it, guys, thank you for your help. I'm out, I'm done. I'm gonna go get a job, this isn't for me. And right that time, someone reached out to me. Someone said, hey kid, been watching you for a year on this forum, I'm super proud of your hustle, don't quit. You know what, for the next 24 hours, I will help you one-on-one, direct message me on this forum. Thing is, we didn't have Skype back then or Facebook or any of these, right? I had to like literally send him messages on the forum. Thankfully, I decided to take him up on it. All right, long story short, that night we worked together for 3 hours, until 3 in the morning. And the next morning I woke up, first success. I had made my first $300. So the first major lesson here was something that we talk about in this book. It's one of the sections, it's one of the stages, it's people. I finally aligned the right people in my life, and all of a sudden, boom, success starts to come in. So after that, I just started to rack up success, right? Until 2008. Oh, we all know 2008. So it's 6 years it took me to build my company up to $10 million a year. Imagine, I was like 26, 27 years old, 25 years old, traveling the world, living the life, entrepreneur, had, almost close to 100 employees at the peak, 3 offices all over the world. And I'm killing it until 2008 happens, the economy collapses, and I kind of take a step back. I'm like, is anything going to happen to my business, my industry? Nothing happens. Gave me this false sense of proof of like, oh, I'm invincible, right? Well, I start building, I start growing, I hire more people, I start going for bigger dreams, bigger businesses. Next thing I know, 2010, the entire economic collapse comes right upon our heads. Right? And by the time I'm 28, I fell $1.7 million in debt. My father had to take a second mortgage on his home. My father had spent his entire life paying off his home. It was one of the most painful moments of my life when I saw him writing a second mortgage to be able to pay me money to help me in my time of need. My closest friends had drained their bank accounts. Okay, I owed MasterCard, Visa, American Express, you name it. I owed everybody money. Okay, where am I going with this? The point is, I collapsed. So I had built a house of cards. I had never built on cement. And my health fell apart, my relationships fell apart, and I'll tell you, I had a turning moment in my life where I almost died, okay, on a plane. I literally almost internally, I had so much internal bleeding. I'm lost in this, they pulled me out, put me in a hospital in Amsterdam. That was my wake-up call. After that, I went on a big journey. I said, you know what the heck happened? How did I go from bottom to top to like way below bottom now? And so I started searching, and the first thing I told myself was, I am no longer chasing money. So what is my purpose? What is my why? What is my mission? Who am I? What am I going to do? And so I said, if I don't have an answer to this, then I would rather work hard for someone else and build their why than chase money. I'm not going to chase money again. But I did find my why. I found my purpose, and that was to work with entrepreneurs. I love entrepreneurship, right? So I started going back into that, and I went from 96 employees to 6. I got rid of all my offices. I simplified. I went back to the basics. They always tell us that, right? Go to the basics. Don't complicate things. 16 months later, boom, back on top. Paid my $1.7 million in debt off, paid everybody off, some with interest, and now I'm climbing back to the top because I'm living my purpose. I'm living my why, right? And now at this point, I get a chance to hang out with people like, I became business partners with Robert Kiyosaki now, with Bob Proctor. You know what? I've met with and hung out with Damon John. I've had lunch with Warren Buffett. I've literally had emails back and forth with Mark Cuban. I have met some of the best billionaires in the world. I've met many millionaires, and it is through the summary of all I've learned from them that I have come to what you learn in this book. About 3 years ago, I went on a journey because I was going crazy. I needed to know what the heck. Why was it that I've taught over 250,000 entrepreneurs all over the world? Why do some of my students go on to become millionaires and crush it and do so well, while so many that work hard, that are smart, but they can't even make $1 online? Drove me crazy. Okay, I was up at night. I'm not making this up. I was really bothered. So I started this research. I started calling my successful students, my not successful students. I looked internally into myself. I looked at the top entrepreneurial stories. I met with some of the billionaire entrepreneurs to research them. And I actually came up with what we're going to talk about in this video series. So if you look at the logo, right, how to go from employee to, swing over, entrepreneur. There's 4 stages. That's SCAP. This is the journey of getting to an entrepreneur, okay? Right here, you'll see the escape triangle. We're going to go through this together. So stage 1 is self. Stage 2 is C, catapult. Stage 3 is authority. And stage 4 is P for people. We're going to go through all of this together. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to give you, a bunch of characteristics in each of these. You master these 4, you master these 4, you can't be stopped. I don't care what kind of business you want to start. As an entrepreneur, you will not be stopped. You will absolutely succeed. This is what I figured out. These are the common traits and characteristics that exist in absolutely you get this? Every single successful entrepreneur. All right, so let's get into stage number 1. S, which stands for self, and this is by far the most important, right? You can't build a home without first building the foundation, without pouring the concrete. You could try, it's not going to work. So we're going to start here. So imagine a triangle, right? So you got a triangle. The base of the triangle, which is the largest, is employees, right? Because most people in this world are employees. Now, if you move up one stage, right? So you got here, you go up a little bit, you're going to hit what we call S. That is self. Now, self is a little smaller than employees. Why? Because, well, a little bit less people in the world get to the self phase. Now, the self phase is basically our personal development industry, right? Our personal development industry has become huge. So there are a lot of people that understand the benefits of improving themselves. But how are they improving themselves? That's the most important thing. Let me explain to you why self is so important before we dive into some of the characteristics of self. We are not coded to be entrepreneurs. I hope you understand that our upbringing is literally working against us. Now, it's no one's fault, and I'm not one of those people that's going to sit here and bad talk our educational system. Our educational system obviously works to a large degree as a human society. We are growing, we are doing well, but I do believe we could do better. Here's why. Our educational system was developed decades ago. It was developed to serve a human society that is largely different than who we are today. Just the last 20 years alone with the invention of the internet has radically changed who we are as a person, how we think, how we act, how we're influenced. Everything about us has now evolved due to what's happened just in the last 20 years. So we haven't had time to disrupt the educational system, but it's coming, and hopefully through books like Escape, others will wake up too. So let's just go back to when you were a child. I believe we're all born entrepreneurs. This is what we discuss in Self, okay? We are all born entrepreneurs. If you ever look at a 2 or a 3-year-old, just watch them. Okay, just watch a toddler. They're the most curious. They want to determine everything for themselves. You can say, no, don't touch that. The first thing they want to do is touch that. They want to understand, right? If they want to eat something, that's what they want to eat. If they want to do something, that's what they want to do. They will explore. Have you ever seen a toddler trying to learn to walk? Just because they fall once or twice, they don't even seem bothered. They may cry, yet it seems like 2 minutes after that, they try again. They try again. They try. Where is that characteristic in our life? Well, what happens is by the time we're 3 or 4 or 5, we start to understand the word no. We also start to understand the value of praise. So follow me here, okay? Follow me. So I asked my 3-year-old nephew, I did a test on him just to see if this self theory was true. I said, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he looked at me and said, I want to be War Machine. Now, for those of you who don't know, War Machine is a Marvel character. It's a comic book character. And it's the sidekick to Iron Man. So I took 2 offenses to his comment. Firstly, why the heck would you ever want to be a sidekick? Be Iron Man. He did not like that. Secondly, I wanted to toy with him a little bit, see how he does, right? Testing him for my book, I was using him as a guinea pig. I said, you know, Ronak, you can't be a War Machine. Is not real. Oh, he didn't like it. He stomped his feet, said, I want to be War Machine. So no one was going to tell him what he can and cannot do. However, as he's gotten older, he started to learn that there's award and reward in being praised. So he goes to school. He understands that when he gets good grades, he's going to come home and his dad's going to buy him a toy. His grandparents are going to call him and cheer him on the phone. His uncle, me, is going to high-five him on FaceTime. And he loves all of that. So he goes to school and now he wants to get good grades. And when he doesn't get good grades, he is upset about it because he feels he won't get the praise. I highly doubt that as a 6-year-old, he understands the value of a great education. He just wants that praise. So imagine we set that cycle up right from the time we're children, right? We live to get praise from our parents. We live to please our parents. We live to please our coaches, our uncles, our aunts, our siblings. Then we work hard in high school. They start saying, better get good grades, better score well on the SATs, better volunteer at associations, better be a part of a lot of groups. Why? Because you're going to get a 1-page rap sheet that determines that someone, a person who doesn't even know you, is going to sit at a university and review this rap sheet and determine if you're worth their university. Think about that. That's obnoxious, right? But it's how the system works. So you are building a rap sheet so a stranger can hopefully like who you are to elect you into their university. You're again working to get praise, working to please a stranger, someone you'll never meet in your life. All right, so let's say you get into your dream college, dream university. You go there. Is it over? We're just getting started. Because now you better get good grades. You better do internships. You better get a lot of hours of experience so that hopefully this one rap sheet, which we call a resume, will then be submitted to recruiters and someone at some company will find you worthy enough to work for that company. Okay, fine. You got your dream job. Are you done now? No. Now you want to grow? You better please the heck out of your boss, because your boss is responsible for your promotion. Okay, you got your promotion. Are you done yet? No. You have a new boss. Now you work hard to please your new boss. Do you see the cycle here? We are constantly working to please others. Well, guess what? We have to do the exact freaking opposite to succeed as an entrepreneur. So we have been just like wrongfully coded, okay? So not only do we need a recoding first, we need a decoding. And that's exactly where self comes in. So there are some traits in self that I go over in this book. The first is paradigms, all right? The very first trait that we need to review in this book is paradigms. And this is something I learned from Bob Proctor that I dissected a lot. You know what? You've got to learn. There are some core areas of your life that we go over in Escape that you need to learn to understand where you picked up the good and the bad from your parents, from your siblings, from your uncles, aunts, coaches, guides, anyone that was in your life before the age of like 10 or 12. You have picked up their belief systems on health, on wealth, on money, on spirituality. There's all these areas. Now, you may have picked up good things. See, from my father, I picked up great things. I also picked up some bad things, but I knew about them early on to work on them. So in this process, when we cleanse us out from the paradigms, we go in and we establish the appropriate paradigms for an entrepreneur to have. Okay, number two, we talk about the power of thought. Oh man, I'm telling you, the power of thought is so big. There is actually something in our mind. There is an anatomical part of our brain called the reticular activating system. The reticular activating system is coded to filter out the noise around you. It's there. It serves. You'd go crazy without it. It's a very important part of your brain. So if you're in a loud room and everyone's talking, you hear all that white noise, and you're like trying to talk to the person next to you, and you're like, hey, I can't hear anything. Yet what's amazing is if someone down the other end of the room says, Anik, you immediately turn around. Who said that? Who said my name? Because the RAS lets your name through, because their name is important to you. See, when you use your mind, you can use it in positive or negative ways. We evaluate that in this book. You can recode your RAS to focus in on the things you want to achieve in your life through self-talk and power of thought. The things you think about, the things you say to yourself. You know, you're the one you talk to the most, right? You talk to yourself all day long. Through what you say to yourself, that literally is telling your RAS what to focus on. So it's incredibly, incredibly important, all right? So back again to the book here, and we go, number three is sacrifices. So in college, you know what? My friends were out at frat parties doing their thing, having a good time, and I was in the room working hard. And I have this story about a friend of mine who every 6 months he would just get this revival. This is recent. Anik, that's it. I want to make more money. Help me out. Show me what you do. Man, I love the life you live. And he didn't really realize the life I live. It's not always just, roses and rainbows, right? I work hard. Entrepreneurs, I love how people say, I want to be an entrepreneur because I want to be free. Well, free of what? Because you're going to spend a lot of time working your butt off. So my question to you, something that we evaluate in this book right away is, what the heck are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to get rid of those Thursday night happy hours? Are you willing to sacrifice a Saturday every week for the rest of your next 5, 6, 7, 8 years of your life? Are you willing to sacrifice time with family? Yes, it does take time from family. I see the people that are like, oh, no, family's most important. Of course family is most important. I'm not saying you abandon your family, but you will get less time with them. And if you can't do that, I'm telling you, just being honest with you, entrepreneurship's not for you, right? Because it takes more time, right? So sacrifices is very important, and we dive much deeper into that. Number 4 is quitting. Ugh, hate that word, right? I quit. It's like the worst 2 words ever created. But think about it. We do quit a lot. We quit a lot in our lives. So what's your take on quitting? Because I'll tell you this right now, most people quit right before the success. I always tell people this, to think about it this way. So let's say you've tried your whole life to succeed, but you've been doing it the way most people do it. You die one day, you go up to heaven, and you go to God. You're like, God, I thought you were supposed to be an awesome God. What's your problem? Why didn't you ever let me become a millionaire? I worked so hard. I wanted it so bad. I wanted to dream so bad. God says, come here, kid. Look at this. And he throws your life on a timeline. And he says, right here, you're about to do it. You were 10 minutes away. Right here, you were 10 days away. Right here, you were 3 days away. Right here, if you had just done one more time, you would have made it. How would you feel? Well, that's where most of us would get back, because we quit. We put all the hard work in, and we quit right before it was going to succeed. We quit right before it was going to succeed. Last but not least, this is the secret of a lot of millionaires and billionaires, self-development. They read. How much do you invest in yourself into growing? Not just books, seminars, workshops, consultants, training, coaching. Guys, I do it all. I invest about $250,000 a year in helping myself grow. And so this all, when we put this together, These are the 5 characteristics that will build up the self to where it needs to be to conquer entrepreneurship. And really only then can you move on to Catapult, which is stage 2, which is where we're going next. So again, thank you for watching so far. Watch it again. Get into the book. We get into a lot more detail, give you exercises, give you questions also. But remember this, you can't build a house without the foundation. Yourself is your foundation. Yourself has been coded to be an employee. You want to be an entrepreneur, you can't just decide one day. You got to make that transition. It could take some time, but it's definitely doable and will help you get there. Stage number 2, Catapult, C. I love this one. So this is the same as create momentum. And momentum is probably the most important thing in the world. All right, let me tell you something that happens to me all the time. And you might chuckle a little bit, but it happens all the time. Anik, help me make $1 million. I really want to make $1 million. Just show me what to do to make $1 million, man. Or 100,000. Or help me pay my house back. Help me pay my credit cards off. And so let's go to the $1 million example. I always say this to people. I say, that's great. Have you made 100? Anik, I don't want to make $100. I want to make $1 million. I know, but have you made 100? No. Well, why don't you do that first? Make 100, right? And then make 1,000. You know how you make $1,000? You do what you did to make 100 10 times. Okay, and then I want you to go make $10,000. You know how you make $10,000? No, you do what you did to make 1,000 10 times. And then I want you to make $100,000. You know how you make $100,000? I want you to do what you made to 10,000 10 times. And then I want you to make $1 million. You know how you make $1 million? Do what you did to make 100,000 10 times. And they always look at me so disappointed and deflated by life. They're like, I thought you were going to give me a real answer. I am giving you the real answer. That is how you do it. You don't wake up one morning and say, I'm going to lose 30 pounds, and then go to sleep that night and you lost 30 pounds. I mean, if there was a way to do that, please don't, because it's probably incredibly unsafe. But you know what I'm saying, right? You can't, literally, if you're going up the steps, it's going to be really difficult for you to go from step 1 to step 30. All right? Again, if there's a way to do it, don't do it. It's probably really unsafe. But you got to go through the steps, but we're not trained to do that. Because as employees, we go to work and our boss says, do this, do this. Do that. We don't have to think. We're like monkeys, all right? Literally doing what we're told to do. And so when it comes time to doing it for ourselves, we're sitting there like, well, I just want the big goal. Oh, no. The secret told me. The secret says just sit and think about it. Okay, look, guys, that's been over fantasized. You've got to have some form of attack. Now, I hate using the word plan because, plans suck. Nothing ever goes according to plan. So I don't like, but you got to have some remnant. You got to have mini goals. You got to break your goals into mini goals, right? You absolutely have to. So Catapult is all about, okay, here's another example. So here's a car. Imagine a car, it won't start. It's cranking, it won't start. Sitting at still, and you need to get it to move. So you take it from park, you put it in neutral, right? Then you go behind it, one person, they're pushing, doesn't move. 2 people, we're seeing a little bit of a jolt, but not moving. 3rd person comes in and story changes. 4th person comes in, and finally, after lots of might, the car is moving. But you know what? Once the car is moving, 3 people could walk off. And that one person could just coast along, keeping the car moving. But the minute that car stops again, 4 people got to go right, come back, and push again. So it takes a lot of energy. This is Newton's laws, okay? These are Newton's laws. These are physics, laws of physics that tell you that it takes a lot of energy to create that momentum. But once you got the momentum, you can capitalize on it and move forward one step at a time. So let's talk about Catapult, right? C. Now I go over five stages here, or 5 steps within that. So the first one is open declaration, right? So open declaration. I love this one. Here's open declaration. Ladies and gentlemen, by the time I am 50 years old, I will be worth $1 billion. I want you to look at how I looked you dead in the face and I said it. I don't give a crap what you think about me. I don't care if you think I'm crazy. I don't care if you laugh at me. I don't care if my own family laughs at me. I don't care if you say I can't do it. It doesn't matter to me. I declare this is what's happening. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before I turn 50, I will have helped 1 million entrepreneurs all over the world. Before I turn 65, I will have helped educate 1 million children all over the world who otherwise wouldn't have had an education. This is open declaration. You know what? This year, our company is going to do 20 million in revenue. I openly declare that. Next year, my company is going to do 30 million in revenue. I openly declare that. Here's the thing, I don't know how necessarily. I don't got a detailed step-by-step plan, but I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen. The power of open declaration is huge. You know why open declaration is so big? You create a rally around you. Yes, some people may laugh. Yes, some people may not believe. Yes, some people may be negative. But what about the people that have access? What about the people that share your dream? What about the people that want to help you, that are supportive? You're gonna abandon or compromise all of that just because you don't want a few people that laugh at you? Man, forget them. All right? Let's talk about the positive people. Because when I openly declare a goal in my company, I get everybody in my company rallying behind the goal. You get momentum, you get excitement, you get people saying, yeah, let's do this. Right? And all of a sudden, somehow, things just happen. Because everyone's pushing for the same mission. Right? We're all going for the same mountain, and I declared which mountain, how high it is, how fast we'll get there, what we are going to carry up there. I mean, we've got it all detailed out. So open declaration creates momentum because it creates support. It brings the right people into your infrastructure. Number 2 is focus. I know you're sitting there thinking, oh, yeah, focus, yeah. No, guys, I'm telling you, I had an email string back and forth 14 plus years ago with Mark Cuban. And I found his email address. I said, Mr. Cuban, I'm a big fan. I want to be just like you. I'm a budding entrepreneur. I'm ambitious. I'm working on 5 companies right now. What's the number 1 advice you'd give me? And you know what he replied? He literally replied and said, kid, drop 4, do 1. I was so pissed off at that time. I was so angry. So how could he tell me this? He has like 50 companies. Different story, right? When you're worth $1 billion and you can have a team that can focus on different things. I didn't do what he said for a year until I was at an event and I heard a speaker talking, and they literally gave mathematical evidence behind the concept of focus. They literally said that if you had a project that needs to take 100 hours a day, 100 hours to finish, and you worked on it for 1 hour a day because you're working on multiple other things, it would take you 100 days to finish it. But if you could devote every hour of every day into that and work 10 hours a day on it, you'd finish with the project in 10 days. And I thought, oh, that's it. I get it. I'm a math guy. Look, you got to focus. You've got to allow yourself time to be in the zone on something. But when you hop around a lot and you do a lot of different, your mind never gets into its lethal mode. It never gets into its like most strong mode, which is the zone, which is when you're so tuned in, time flies by, you don't even realize it. So we talk a lot about all of that, again, in this book, right? So the next couple that I want to go over is, this one is my favorite story, is how do you eat an elephant? Now, this is the third part of being of Catapult and understanding catapults. How do you eat an elephant? So the story goes back to a drunk man I met at a bar years ago. We're talking 13, 14 years ago. And I was sitting at an event. All the speakers of the event were at this bar. I could see them. It was like literally maybe 10 yards from me. They're drinking at the bar. There's one man who's super drunk. And they're all around him. They're all speakers. And they're all talking about, oh yeah, $1 million this, $1 million that, $2 million this, $3 million that. And I'm like, man, how are they able to talk about millions of dollars like this? I can't even make 10,000. So they saw me looking at them. They're like, kid, come here, And then I went over there. They're like, well, how can we help you? What's the question you would ask? I said, how do you guys talk about millions like this? Like, I can't even make 10,000. The drunk man, right? He gets up and he like stumbles on. And he goes, hey, kid, how do you eat an elephant? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he starts to stumble away and turns around and he goes, 1 bite at a time, and walks off. And I thought the man had lost it. I was like, who's talking about eating elephants, man? That's gross. And then the guys that are left behind, they're like, and what he means is, don't focus on making $1 million. Focus on making your first 10,000. Guys, what are your mini goals? Get to be in a place of celebration. Build celebration for yourself to create that momentum. What are you going to do? What is one thing that if you did a series of these things would lead to your end goal? Right? I'm not talking about having a specific plan you're stuck to, but what are those mini goals that you can hit? It's really important to have those. And so that's what we talk about in the elephant exercise. And then, of course, I'm going to make sure I go in order, right? Number 4 is no more tomorrow. Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to give you a funny story. This will highlight the whole entire picture here of what we go over in No More Tomorrow. I want you to answer this honestly. I want you to close your eyes and just listen along. And then I want you to answer my questions that I ask you inside your mind. So your best friend calls you right now. Take a minute and really imagine who your best friend is, okay? Take a minute and think about your best friend. You got it? Got their name? Okay. Calls you Monday morning. Man, I really need your help. I need your advice. I'm in a jam. Please, I know it's last minute. Can you see me for lunch today? Meet me at so-and-so cafe. You're like, oh man, okay, I gotta go. Okay, fine. Of course, I love you, man. I'll be there. So 11:55, you show up, you're sitting there, you're at your table, you're waiting. 12:10, 12:15, 12:30, 12:45, nobody. You get a phone rings, ding, ding, you take it up. I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. I got called in by my boss. I couldn't make it. I couldn't get there. Yada, 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 yada. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll be there tomorrow. I promise, man. Just forgive me, please. I'll be there tomorrow. You say, okay, man. No problem. It happens. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, 11:55. You're back there sitting, waiting. 12, 12:15, 12:30, 12:45. Nobody. Okay, day 3. Same thing again. Day 4. Do you show up for this person? No, you don't, do you? I didn't think so. This is what you do to yourself every day. You know, we're tired at night. Oh, the boss has been tough. The wife's been driving me crazy. The kids have been screaming their heads off. I just need a beer and a show. I know, I said I was going to study that thing tonight. I was going to launch my business. I was going to do that thing. I'll do it tomorrow. Entrepreneurs don't do things tomorrow. I'm telling you that right now. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, is failure. Now, people will say, right, don't be, so this is number 5, okay, of creating momentum. Don't be afraid of failure. Who's not afraid of failing? I'm shit scared of failing. I don't want to fail. Failure sucks. It's painful. So I say, be afraid of failure. It's okay to be afraid of failure, but have a relationship with it. You know, I jokingly say, growing up, I was scared of my father. I had fear of my father. But that didn't mean that I love my father, right? Like, growing up, I had a relationship with him. Have a relationship with failure. Embrace it. Let it in. Learn from it. So every time I got yelled at from my father, instead of being upset with him, I would always, as a little kid, say, what can I learn from this? How can I make sure he doesn't have this thing to yell at me about in the future, right? And it helped me grow into who I am today. So with failure, I want you to embrace it. Do you realize that I fail all the time? I failed before I started making this video. I failed 50 times today. I just don't get on video and talk about that. I talk about my success. So everyone thinks, oh, successful people just succeed all the time. No, we fail probably 100 times more. It is the rate at which you fail. The faster you fail is the faster you'll succeed, because you'll learn from, if you learn from it, right? So my question to you is, do you have a relationship with failure at all? You know, I don't just mean like dealing with it. I mean, do you literally like listen and speak to failure? There you go. Those are the 5 characteristics of how to create a catapult in your life, how to create momentum in your life. Now, we go into them in a lot more detail, but I'm telling you right now, did you pass or fail this part of the entrepreneur journey? If you don't have at least most of these nailed down, it's going to be really hard to go to stage 3, which is authority, all right, or leadership. Now, let me start right off the bat by saying this. I am not asking you to become a charismatic, inspirational leader that can stand in front of an audience of 40,000 people and rally a revolution. That'd be awesome if you can, but that's not what you need. That's not what's needed to be entrepreneurial, to have entrepreneurial success. But you do need to be able to lead. You need to be able to inspire, whether it's inspiring your team, your vendors, your customers. You've got to be able to inspire. Listen, entrepreneurship, right? What is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is finding a problem, solving a problem, creating value. That's the most important part, by the way, creating value. If you don't create value, you're not truly an entrepreneur. You're just someone making some money. Now, I'll tell you right now, if you look at the most influential entrepreneurs in our world, they did it because they disrupted something, right? So if you looked at an iPhone, Steve Jobs disrupted the way that we interact with the digital world. Think about that, okay? He disrupted, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs together, they disrupted the way we compute. We have computers, mini computers in our homes. Now we have them in our hands. Now we have them on our, a lot of people have them on their wrists. I mean, they disrupted things. You can literally look at any of the major entrepreneurs in the world, Tesla, look at Elon Musk. These guys disrupt things. They disrupt the way that the nature happens. And if you're going to disrupt something, you're going to go away from the norm, you better be able to inspire people to follow along. And so that's where authority comes in. Now, the problem with authority is that some people are genetically coded to be leaders better or more than others. And that comes out when they're young. Right from the time they're young, they're not as shy, they're more outgoing, they're more energetic. So when the teacher says, who would like to be the class leader? They say, me, right? And then the next year, 4th grade, who would like to be class leader? Me. Again, they're raising their hands. What happens is in a class, you have 40 kids? How many class leaders do you have? 1. What happens to the other 39 kids? Now, they need to learn leadership. They need to learn authority. They're just not as naturally inclined. They're not as loud and as fast as that 1 or 2 or 3 kids that take up all the opportunity. So those kids, they get entrepreneurial leadership training. The rest of them don't. The rest are literally being taught. Just follow those 3. Just follow the leader, follow the leader, follow the leader. Well, I'm telling you right now, you gotta learn to be a leader. You gotta learn authority. Otherwise, it just isn't gonna work out. As an entrepreneur, it's gonna be very tough. Or if you really are, like we see a lot of these leaders in, a lot of entrepreneurs, I should say, in Silicon Valley, right? They're coders. They don't have that extrovert leadership. And what's the first thing that VCs do for these kinds of entrepreneurs? They hire CEOs, CMOs, they hire VP of sales. They build an infrastructure around that entrepreneur, right? But they allow the entrepreneur to be more true to who they are. So you can get around this stage if it really is something you don't want to do, but you will have to bring someone else in. So you have to be a leader enough to know that you need a leader, okay? So stage 3 authority is incredibly important. It is one that I believe you can still learn. It's not too late. So we'll dive right into the 5 right here. So number 1, this is one of my favorite ones, okay? Accountability. Self-accountability. So I want you to really evaluate yourself on this one. So there's a story. I was driving down the highway one day. This is a few years ago. The first time in my life I was stuck in traffic in a long time. I don't get stuck in traffic. My office is 6 minutes from my house. But I had to go to a meeting, and it was like 45 minutes away, and it was morning rush hour. And at one point, I look over, and I saw the funniest little visual. I still remember till this day like it was yesterday. I see a guy who's in the car next to me on the highway, stuck in traffic, and the guy is eating a bagel with one hand, and he's shaving with an electric shaver with the other, and he's got his rearview mirror that he's using as a mirror, and he's just shaving. And I remember, and I asked myself a question. I said, would I shave in the car for myself? What does that mean? That guy is so accountable to his boss. He's got to be at work by a certain time, because if he's not, he's going to get in trouble. So he's so accountable to his boss that he is willing to have breakfast and shave in the car on the way because he's late. Probably hit snooze maybe 1 too many times, but he's still going to make it on time. Versus us as entrepreneurs, how many times do we hit the snooze button on ourselves? Because we're not accountable to ourselves. We take advantage of ourselves. When we don't do something, we say, it's okay. No one's going to yell at me. I'll do it tomorrow. Right? How accountable are you to yourself? How accountable are you to your word, to others? My word is more ironclad than a contract. I'm telling you right now, most of the people I owed money to, when I owed $1.7 million in debt, I didn't have a contract with. Probably about 500,000 of that $1.7 million in debt, I had a contract for. That meant $1.2 million, I could have just called people and said, prove it. No way, Jose, not happening. I paid everybody back. I even paid people who I didn't have a contract with. I paid them interest because I'm a man of my word. I'm super accountable. So I really want to kind of drive home the value of accountability. And then the next thing I really want to talk about is stepping up, right? So again, we talked about kids in classrooms, right? So step up when someone at work says, we have an event, who wants to volunteer for this event? Okay, we have something, we need someone to help us out with this. Who wants? Start raising your hands. Okay, if you don't have an opportunity to raise your hands at work, create a meetup. Start a meetup in your local area. Just do something to step up. Build a habit of stepping up. It's really important. All right, so moving right along to number 3, responsibility. Oh man, I love this one, okay? So let's talk about responsibility, taking responsibility, okay? Responsibility. Back when I was a kid, I remember watching Coach Joe Gibbs. If anyone who likes American football, you'll know Washington Redskins, 1990, 1991, they're top of their game. Coach Joe Gibbs, they had a great game one game. Awesome, they killed it, crushed it. Joe Gibbs comes out. Everyone's like, sir, how did you do so well? How'd you do so well? And he's like, yes, it wasn't me. It wasn't our coaches. It was the team. Our defensive line was great. Our offensive line was great. Our quarterback was amazing. Our receivers were great. Our running back did this and da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Like, he gave all the credit to the team. Next week, they do equally bad. They sucked. They lost so bad. He comes out, coach, what happened? Coach, what happened? He's like, I am so sorry. This is on me. We were not properly prepared. This will never happen again. The coaching team is meeting tonight. We have to learn how to better prepare our team. And I'm like, wait a minute, that sucks. So you give all the good away and the bad you take. That's what a great leader does. So let me ask you a question. When the vase breaks in the room, your mom's favorite floral vase breaks, are you the first person that says, he did it? Right? That's what we're taught ever since we're kids, because when we do something wrong as kids, we get in trouble. So we want to explore this taking responsibility, right? Because entrepreneurs are leaders, and leaders take responsibility. So when something bad happens in this company, I am like, it is me, it is on me, it is on my shoulders, we got to fix it, we will fix it. And when something good happens, I'm the first to say, didn't do a thing, everyone, credit goes to my team, all right? Leadership, that I'm telling you right now, responsibility is huge. All right, number 4, moving right along into, this is a funny one, instincts. So let me ask you a question here. Can you make fast decisions? I mean, like, fast decisions. See, when I go to the mall and it's time to go shop, I am in and I'm out. 90 minutes flat, I bought an entire season's clothes. I see something, I try it, I like it, I don't like it. I like it, I don't like it. Okay, when it comes to business, I'm in a room. I get out all the information I need. I gather all the information. I get everyone telling me, and then I sit there and I say, that's what we're doing. And I devote myself to it. So listen, make fast decisions is something I learned from Tony Robbins. You're going to make wrong decisions. You're going to mess up. It's okay. You know what? Everything's fixable. Mess up, but mess up fast. If you're going to make a bad decision anyways, why take 2 weeks to make it? Take 2 hours and get it out of the way. Learn from it and move on. Fail fast, succeed faster. All right? Now, the last but not least that we go over in this book in great detail is risks. I hate this word risk. There is a common misconception out there in the world that entrepreneurs take higher risk. It's actually part of the definition, which I agree with. Literally, the definition in Webster's is entrepreneurs are people who run their own businesses and take a higher risk to chase a higher return. Do you know that the best entrepreneurs, the most successful entrepreneurs, actually don't take risks? They actually have such calculated risks. They have plan B, C, D, E, F, G. That's why they're so successful. I, as an entrepreneur, man, I gather all my data. I do all of my calculations. I know my exit plans, my enter plans. I know my backup plans, my backup to backup plans. And I only go into things that I'm like, you know what? Statistically, I think I got this. This is worth it. So I want to know, how much do you calculate? Do you just get an idea and boom, start running on the whim? Or do you collect your data? You got to collect the data around you. All right, so now these collectively build what we call authority, right? Having the authority, having the leadership to inspire. You want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be an intrapreneur, it doesn't matter. You've got to perfect this. And this really leads us to what we call the final frontier. The final frontier is P, people. The toughest one, but this is the final frontier to becoming a successful entrepreneur. But probably the most important. I don't think anyone can succeed as an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur unless they've nailed down P. I got to tell you, if anyone said, Anik, what is the one thing that has led to the most success you have? And I would say, I know how to build the right environment around me, of people to support me, of people who are smarter than me, of people who can lead my team, who can lead me in many cases. So here's a prime example. Number one, we're going to dive right in, okay? Dive right in. Number one thing that we talk about in the people phase or the people stage is analyzing the people that are in your life. This is really important, analyzing the people. So let's talk about, who's really actually, I call this the circle of support that we go over in the book. So who's, the people will teach us in the personal development space that remove negative people from your life. Just remove them, get rid of them. But do you realize that most people that love you, that support you in a way, that really care for you, they're protective over you, they're actually negative. The reason most people are negative towards you is because they're trying to protect you. Do you realize that? So if you start removing everyone that's negative in your life, you're going to be left with no one that actually cares. So in my life, some of the most negative people in my life in the past, like my father was negative when I was launching my business. My mother was negative when I was launching this 26,000 square foot facility for entrepreneurs. My wife, at that time girlfriend, was negative when my first business went under and I was trying to start it up again. Why? Not because they don't like me, not because they had something against me, but because they just wanted to protect me. They couldn't fathom themselves doing what I was doing. So they were like, oh my God, let's protect him. So we don't understand him, so let's protect him. So I could not have gotten rid of those people. Listen, only 3 to 5% of the people in your life are actually toxic. Toxic people need to go. So the very first thing we do is we analyze the situation. We analyze the people in your life to determine who's where so that we can learn how we need to manage them. An entrepreneur, a true successful entrepreneur, is a wizard when it comes to relationships and people. They know how to, they're like a lizard, okay? They can boom, they can change. They're like a chameleon. They can change with people around them. Based on that relationship, they can be who they need to be. And that's how they're able to inspire, lead, and have all that success that they do, right? So moving right along, number 2, growing your network. So we just talked a little bit about how it's important to be so individual focused on relationships with people. But number 2, we're going to talk about growing your network. One of the jokes I have is that there isn't a single problem in my life that you could throw at me that my Facebook page can't solve. Literally, it's all I use Facebook for. People laugh at me all the time. I say, anyone know anyone who knows this? Tag them in the comments. Comment me above. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for that. I have this problem. I have this issue. They just rally. My network comes in. I can text message people, get instant answers. I can call people, get instant answers. I can Skype people, get instant answers. I can Facebook message people, I get instant answers. I have so many ways, but the key thing is I know people, and they can do the same with me. I have a lot of them message me, Anik, how do I do this? Anik, how to do that? How do I do this? And I answer them back. I tell them what to do. I tell them how to do it. So this is really important, right? Are you growing your network? Are you constantly, every week, if you were to look at your cell phone, is it growing, the number of contacts? It's really, really important. All right, number 3, let's kind of go back and revisit a point we made in number 1, which is negative people. So what do you do with negative people, right? A great entrepreneur is going to master how to manage negative people. Something we'll go over, again, in a lot of detail in this book, but I'll just give you an example. So when I was building this facility, right now I'm standing and shooting this in my video studio, which is part of our 26,000 square foot facility we built here in Maryland for entrepreneurs. It's literally it's a haven, it's a playground for entrepreneurs. We have classrooms, a lecture hall, we have a video studio, we have nap rooms, video game rooms, ping pong tables, foosball table, we have audio studios, we have a video studio, we have everything you could want. So when I was building this, it cost me $3.5 million. And people would ask me, Anik, how are you going to monetize this? How are you going to make your money back? And I'd say, I don't know. I just know I need one. I have to build this. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And my mom thought I was freaking nuts. She literally thought I was nuts. So she starts getting nervous for me. So here's the thing. My mom is like, she's probably one of the most supportive people in my life. Okay, I walk on water and the sky for my mom. But she was scared. She didn't want me to lose $3.5 million. So what do I do with her? I know that when I speak to my mother about this facility or about anything else that could be risky for her son, I also follow it with conversation that immediately deflates the risk. I let her know how I've planned, why I've planned, how it's safe. And sometimes I will share details with her or I won't share details with her, right? So as I'm building this facility, now that it's picking up, now that it's growing, I'm not going to talk to her about how much my electricity bill is or what my air conditioning bill is or what this. She doesn't need to know that level of detail because it'll make her have anxiety. It'll give her a reason to be negative. So I'm going to take control of that relationship. Again, I told you, right? Entrepreneurs, bam, 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 we can control each relationship individually. So I know that I'm not going to give her the opportunity to be negative. So that's how you handle negative people. You've got to learn what triggers them and don't do that. Try to be individualistic with them instead of trying to treat everybody in your life the same way. And I'm telling you right now, you will be able to keep a lot more people and turn them from negative to supportive just because of the way you manage that relationship. All right, moving right along. Okay, the fourth one here. Ask questions. Do you know that time is one of your only limited commodities in your life? I believe that wealth is unlimited. It's abundant. I believe that materialistic things, we can have as much of whatever we want. Time, we cannot. There are 24 hours in a day. You will die one day, so you have limited time. You just don't know how much you have, but you have limited time on this earth. So when you have a question, when you want to figure something out, if you are going to investigate for a week, learn, study, read, play, tinkle with it, watch YouTube videos, when you have a friend who's an expert in that you could call and within 30 seconds have an answer, it is, to me, offensive that people take the week, but so many people do it. Why? They'll say, oh, I'm scared of asking him. Oh, what if I bother him? I don't want to bother him. It's like, when someone calls me and says, Anik, I have a question. You're the best at this. I thought you could answer it the quickest. Man, you actually build me up. I feel good. I feel good that people that love me, need me, and want me to answer something and recognize my expertise in something. But let me just tell you right now, entrepreneurs who are on the go, who want to move, they do not waste time. Time is their most valuable asset. So if they have something that someone else knows the answer to, boom, they ask a question. No ego, no nothing. They get the answer. All right, last but not least, mentorship. This is number 5 of stage 4, okay? I have had over 10 mentors in my life already, and I'm only 35 years old as I film this. I'm telling you right now, I invest a lot of money, time, energy in finding great mentors. And you know how I find great mentors? It's because I'm a great student. So when I ask a question, someone tells me the answer, I'm open-minded, open-hearted, I implement, I take action. I don't sit around and ask 30 questions. I don't think I know better than this person who has so much more experience. I start to do what they told me to do. And then I go back and report back, hey, thanks so much for your help. I did what you said, look what happened. By the way, I had another question, would you mind answering? This person at this point is so elated with me, they're so happy with me. They say, what is it? I say second, they tell me what to do. I go back, I do it. I come back the third time, fourth time, fifth time. Before we know it, sixth or seventh, he's become my mentor. She's become my mentor. Mentorship relationships never hardly ever begin with, Mr. So-and-so, would you be my mentor? That's not how things start, okay? Mentorship is so key in our lives, to get coached by those who've been there, who've done that. Just think about the value, the time you save, the money you save, the knowledge you gain. Been there, done that. If I want to be a surgeon, I'm going to find me a surgeon and ask them how to become one. I'm not going to find a mechanical engineer and ask them how to become a surgeon, am I? You got to find the right people and ask the right people. Listen, that's it. That takes us right through the 4 stages right here. SCAP, how to go from employee to entrepreneur. Now, I will tell you, there's this whole triangle here that we worked up our way towards today. There's a lot more in this book than what we covered today. And what I want to do is offer you the ability to go ahead and click the link that should be above or below or somewhere around this video. It'll take you to a page where we'll show you Damon John, who wrote the foreword to the book. It'll show you the endorsement by Robert Kiyosaki, Les Brown, Bob Proctor, Kevin Harrington, the original shark from Shark Tank. You know, people from Shark Tank, Damon John, Kevin Harrington, who literally have a lifetime. That's all they do. They evaluate entrepreneurs. They read this book and said, you know what, kid, you figured it out. Anik, you figured out. You broke the code to becoming a successful entrepreneur. I want to give this book to you for free. That's right. It's absolutely free. I'll ship it to your house. Just cover the shipping. That's it. Now, I'll ship it anywhere in the world for the same one low shipping fee. Now, the cost of the book, the printing, the packing, I'll pay for it. I actually go into losses every time you order the book. I'm willing to do that because I want to establish this relationship with you. I told you my entire purpose, and the purpose of my company is to be the transformational home for entrepreneurs. Well, we can't do that unless we've got entrepreneurs joining us and entering our home. This is what I'm willing to do. If that means I go into losses for you to get your hands on this book and everything I covered and the detail that I took 3 years to cover, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to do that because I trust that you and I will develop such a great relationship. You'll buy other stuff from me in the future. No problem. I'm happy to do it for now. So this book is right here. It's absolutely free. This is what we walked through over the last, so many videos here. I want to really implore you and encourage you. Go ahead, grab it. Go to the page right now. If you want to read, watch the video. If you want to read up about the book, there's a lot of more information there for you. But I mean, really, do I need to sell the book to you? I mean, we just went through all these videos together. I have only shared with you a third or a half, or not even half, sorry, a third or a fourth of what's in this book. We can really, this book gives you exercises. There's also an assessment in here. That's one of the best things. There's an assessment in this book that's about 45 minutes to take. When you take it, it literally gives you what we call your E-score. It tells you how likely you are as an entrepreneur to succeed. And then a beautiful chart, a huge report that comes after that literally tells you, it tells you exactly where to focus on, S, C, A, or P, to increase your E-score the most. So it's a full analysis, a full analytics on you. So go ahead right now, go to the link that's above or below or wherever on this video, go to that URL, go ahead, watch the video, see what others have said about the book if you need to, read up about the book. But I really think if you can just pop down a tiny little amount for shipping, I'll ship it to you anywhere in the world. I'll cover all the rest of the costs. I want to give this book to you for free. Last but not least, look, some countries can take a while for the book to reach you. I have no control over that. It's the postal system. But what I don't want you to wait. I don't want you to have to wait to get the amazing information in this book. So what I'll do for you is I'll give you free online access. Yes, we're going to give you access to our Lurn Nation. We will give you a digital classroom that has 25 other free courses in there, by the way. We don't want to even talk about those right now. But tons of entrepreneurial information. I'll give you free access for life to this book digitally if you just cover the shipping. So while the book is being shipped to you, you can start reading it. Then the physical book will arrive at your door as well. Again, thank you so much for watching these videos. Thank you so much for engaging with us here. This is Anik Singal. I'm looking forward to working with you. Thank you for ahead of time for joining us at Lurn, for coming home, right, to the home for entrepreneurs. Get yourself a free copy of this book. Click the link, go to the next page, fill out a short form. In the next 30 seconds, you could be reading this entire book that I believe will change hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of lives all over the world. Hopefully yours is one of them. I took a lot of time to decode what it takes to succeed as an entrepreneur. It's right in here. I'll send it to you for free. Just cover the shipping. Click the link right now. I'll see you there. This is Anik Singal reminding you, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back. Click the link now. I'll see you at the page.